high-tech studio.
Nope. Are we live? Can anybody hear us?
More to me. Oh, yeah. More. All right. Hello. Sorry, a little late. We ran into dinner a little late, and we had to let everyone here just finish real quick, so you didn't just see us madly slurping some soup. Slurp soup.
It's a long day.
It's delightful soup. It's been a long day. And we are now in our indoor Ecuadorian jungle studio.
Oh boy.
I guess people can hear us?
Yes? Hopefully?
There is comments.
Yeah.
All right.
Somebody let us know if you can hear us. Oh, good, thanks. Okay. What time is it here? It's 7:15 right now, according to one of our devices.
7:10 by my phone, 7:15 over here. Why can modern digital devices not agree on a time? We're all sitting next to each other. We all have different times. We did better with wristwatches. So let's see. We're going to talk about what was on the agenda.
Just Ecuador news, stuff we're doing. Any questions you guys have?
I love questions. Please, questions are favorable to us just blathering on about some stuff or the news. So in the chat, ask away. Fair game. We'll go through those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you sell any of the goods you make?
We have a child that is...
Reselling him?
Let's see. What do we make that we sell? Not a lot. So we're working on making enough for us. And then...
extra would then go.
And then extra would go beyond that. So there's the... What was the levels of like...
I don't remember what I called them.
So there's the 3 levels of existence of when you're doing self-sufficiency. And the first level is like survival, bare minimum self-sufficiency, what you need to do that. It's not... And then you get into more, like you might grow some crops that are not just for calories and to stay alive. They taste good and they may help out health in other ways. And then you get into bounty and luxury where you have lots of extra stuff because your systems are set up. And it takes a long time starting from zero. And we started from totally raw land in a place here in what turns out is known worldwide as notoriously poor soil. In fact, it was even called some of the worst in the world, which you wouldn't think so. You look around, you're like, it's literally all green. Every square inch is growing something.
It's just not growing any of the things we want to grow.
Yeah, there's that. So it's a long process of you look at building soil, at getting the right plants, getting the right processes. Simply getting some sunlight, getting some trees cleared to get light to the ground. If you go 100 meters in any direction, you're in straight jungle. There is no light on the forest floor. The trees eat all of it.
Yeah. We
don't sell anything yet.
No. It actually benefits us more if we just don't have to buy things.
So for right now, like that's the zero line. So you work up to stop buying things, and then you work into selling things.
Yeah. I've seen the coral or look-alike coral snake on your property. You're one of the bad vipers there. How common is it to see a snake on your place, and what other snakes, if any, have you seen? We've seen a bunch of them.
Yeah, we've seen a few colorful but non-threatening kind of snakes.
Big black ones. I'm still not sure what they are.
Yeah,
because I haven't gotten a good look.
The only scary one is we have the fer de lance, spearhead fer de lance. It's a pit viper, apparently a notoriously nasty one. That said, the rule that we found here, Ecuador, at least this part, this is a strange place in the world. You go anywhere else, and the creatures are the creatures, and some are like aggressive, and some are violent, and some this and that, and some things try to kill you, and some don't. Nothing here wants to hurt you if you leave it alone. the cows, the random dogs that just live everywhere by themselves in cities. Looks like a Disney movie. Sometimes they're just running around all like mixed, like whatever. And it's fine. And there's this like low level of just overall aggression in the entire animal world. We saw monkeys once. No monkeys.
Oh, monkeys.
Cappuccinos.
Capuchin.
They were cappuccino colored. And they swung over to the trees like just below our driveway and like looked at us, and we looked at them, and they went, "We're out," and they left again. We've never seen them since. There's a bunch of animals. We've had pacas run right through the house. We've thrown things at them like, "Go away."
Yeah.
You know, nothing has ever been aggressive, including the snakes. And there's been a few instances of us encountering snakes. Because of the risk to us and the animals and things, I have chosen to remove them from the local area artificially.
Yeah, they would definitely kill a goat or pig or anything that they like just by accident. Like, I mean, I don't think
Or
they'd be
us
aggressive.
if you can't get anti-venom in time.
Well, I just mean like the goats would just step on one.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
not paying attention. They're a goat.
And I did step on one of the fer de lances at one point. I didn't see it on a trail, and the kid said as I walked, it like snapped and hit the bottom heel of my boot because I was still walking. I didn't even see it, but he saw it. I will tell you that when you go to attack them, they are fast as lightning. You don't even see them move. Yeah, but you can just leave them alone.
Yeah.
Strangely, that works with pretty much everything here.
I mean, the only things that we have a problem with aren't actually like a threat to us. They're just annoying.
The biting flies. They're a form, I think, of deer fly.
They're so annoying.
Those will come after you. They will chase you. They will hunt you. They will follow you. They'll follow the van. They'll wait for you to open the door. They'll stand here and they'll like wait outside the house and buzz around.
Wait outside my tent.
Oh yeah,
it's rude.
And then they're vicious and they bite. But that's just like right here. Like you go down the road and then you stop seeing them. So that's just right here.
Yeah. All right, we are moving to Cuenca in August. Is food cost of living much more expensive in Cuenca than where you are? We saw that you're spending around $800 per month. We're actually spending less than $800 per month if we're just strictly food costs.
Yeah,
we're at like probably $600 because our expenses include animal food and
we're paying it forward on meat,
propane, and like other stuff.
Yeah.
So we're like $600, but we don't pay rent.
I don't think Cuenca is going to be that much different.
No.
I think prices across Ecuador are pretty commodity stable. You get a little bit more in cities, and then in the outlying areas. So like if we go to our local little town, food is actually 10-20% more.
Because that's the travel.
Right. Then if we go to the bigger market in the next town, at the bigger city, where there's more, then it's a little bit cheaper. But that's only for like the Sunday market. If we go to the big indoor commercial market, it's the same prices that we pay locally.
Yeah.
And when I say that, like when there's apples and they're like $5 for $1 at the big market, then they're $4 for $1 by the time they make it locally. Kind of like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it would be terribly different living in Cuenca. I mean, it'll be different than where we are, but it wouldn't be different than living in a city here, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
City living is going to be a little bit more expensive.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Your real estate is going to be more.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think just clearing the land around you, like the brush and so forth, would end the snake problem? It's definitely helped. Well, I mean, it's helped where the brush was, but then again, there was a totally clear area over here with the path, and that's where like snake scared the kid half to death.
He's like, ah!
Because we're always like, walk on the paths. And then he did, and he's like, there's a snake.
You clearly saw it, and then it booked it. It saw him, and it just... We chased it.
It's gone.
It was gone. It wanted nothing to do with us.
No, they mostly just don't want anything to do with you. But it is better, like where the grass grows up high. It's just harder to see them.
You can't.
So you could accidentally step on them.
You can't see your own feet.
Yeah.
The grass is 5 feet high.
But it doesn't really seem to affect where they are.
Yeah, but in how many years of us being here, we've had 3 encounters with dangerous snake?
4.
Okay.
You forgot about the toad. The one that ate the toad.
Oh, yeah.
That scared me.
Yeah.
That was just startling.
Yeah.
Do you guys like papaya, and do they grow right where you're at?
They grow fantastically.
I haven't really tried to grow it, to be honest.
But they grow all around us. The neighbors grow them. They grow them in town. All the different types. They just sort of like stick a seed in the ground, and then there's just papaya trees. Yeah, they do really well.
But that being said, I'm hesitant to start too many more fruit trees until we have more land cleared to put them. Especially the things that grow faster, like the avocados and things. Like, they grow so slow, it's fine. But because the papayas are a faster growing thing,
put it where you want it.
I need somewhere for it to go, and I don't have that right now. Do you think you're living in the best geographical area in Ecuador? Depending on what you mean.
It depends. I mean, there's a best. What is best? So my friend Steve really likes slightly cooler. Not as interested in growing all of his stuff. Like, he wants to grow a little bit, but that's not his focus. He likes the cooler, slightly thinner air, less bugs, a little bit drier. So his best is different than our best. He wants slightly higher elevation and a little less rainfall, a little less humid. It's his best.
Yep.
It's pretty good for us, though.
It's definitely a little more humid than would be ideal. But
yep, it's not Hawaii bad.
No, not at all.
Get off the plane of the plane in Hawaii and you start chewing on the air.
Yeah.
Or Florida. No, it's not that bad. But we still live in our tents, and I can tell you that we have been living in tents for years now, like homeless people. It is incredibly comfortable.
It is.
We're not terribly hardy, I guess, So I have a couple of blankets.
You're less hardy than I am.
And I use the same blankets for summer and for winter and for whatever. And you get into the 60s at night.
It's really comfortable.
Low 60s, mid 60s. That's it every night. It cools off, but not too much. In the daytime, it warms up. Rarely too much. We get some days that get into the 90s, and we're like, oh my gosh, it's sweltering day.
But it's only for a couple hours at most.
Yeah, it's not the whole the middle of the afternoon. You're supposed to be taking a siesta anyway.
Yeah. But as far as geographical, I mean, we think this is the best place as far as safety, community, things like that.
If it's straight geography, then it's sort of whatever you like.
Yeah.
If you're looking at all of the different...
What?
I'm sorry. I'm intruding on your space. If you're looking at all of the different categories of things that are important to us, then we think it's best.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're out by ourselves without people close to us and their smells and their noises, but we're also not terribly far from civilization, because we're still relying on civilization and being part of that.
Are you totally convinced you have made the best decision as a family in moving to Ecuador?
Yeah, so far. I mean, several years in, and we're still,
And we're saying that at probably like not our highest point in life currently.
Right.
Just to be honest. It's not like going swimmingly right now. But we still definitely think it was the right choice.
Yeah.
The more we watch the world burn, sometimes literally, or drown, sometimes literally,
or softball hail,
or politics, or
riots,
people, or
drugs, meth.
We're feeling pretty
fentanyl. Good. These are a lot of things that we don't have here. Like the zombie apocalypse that may happen one day won't be here. No. So there's a lot of things that we look at. This is a family-centric, family-based sort of culture, and it harkens back to the golden times of say, the U.S., not the weird modern version.
Yeah. How far away from your home would the nearest church be? I have no clue. I'm sure it's in the local town.
There's one in every town.
I mean, I just make the assumption.
And there's one in the tiny town that's like 37 people.
Is there one?
Yeah, there's one there. So there's like right down at the closest little. It's not even a town. It's a gathering of like. They closed the school because there just wasn't even enough kids. So all the kids have to go to the next like bigger town which is half an hour away, which is like the big church with the big like courtyard and the
Oh, that's right. I
and
just couldn't figure out where the courtyard or the church was in my head. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I just
down
couldn't
there.
picture it.
They're pretty serious about their churches, mostly Catholic. The occasional other. There's a Jewish church next to the market in Zaza. We hear them singing all the time.
Yeah. There's a few other little.
Yeah, there's a few others here and there.
But
Mormons,
predominantly Catholic.
We see Mormons representing. They always got some elders walking around trying to convert people. We see the occasional Jehovah's Witness.
Hey guys. My kiddo and I just saw your live stream. I want to say hi. Awesome.
Oh, who's that? I reserve the right to swat a bug at any moment. I hate mosquitoes. I will kill everyone I see. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just used to it. Now that you live in a very rural setting, would you ever think of moving to and living in town? Gosh, no. We literally moved here to be as far away from people as we could get.
So, let me give you a good backstory. We've lived lots of different places, close to people, further away from people, away from everybody.
Really close to people.
Yeah, good times. We even lived at a KOA campground over the winter while it was closed.
That was cool.
That was cool.
Fun.
There was nobody there.
That was a good time.
We had, 200 acres or something?
That was a good time.
Okay.
Man.
Right.
Lived in a trailer park in downtown Colorado Springs. That was not a good time.
That was a little rough.
We've done it all.
Right. We moved to Loja, and we lived in Hipiro, which is a section of Loja.
Like outside of the city.
Just outside. Like just over the border. Like literally a few hundred meters. And here's the thing. Ecuadorians don't seem bothered by loud music, loud engines, missing mufflers, fireworks shot over their house, dogs barking at all hours of the night, smoke. People, like the occasional like neighbor would just burn their trash. There's free trash service. This is an interesting tidbit. Everywhere we've ever lived, we've had to pay for trash service, or it's rolled into your rent if it's an apartment. It's free. It's paid for by the government. Yeah. So guess what? Most people simply walk their trash to the trash can, and most of the trash goes away. Sense. And it actually does a good job for the environment. I think it's a great idea. And it's not like people abuse it and dump like stuff in there and construction things and business, whatever. No, it's like people there's a dumpster, everybody gets to use it. But occasionally, people just don't really want to do that, and they'll make like a little burn pile in their backyard, and they'll burn like plastic bags and wrappers and letters and things, and the smoke would drift over our house.
We're not a big fan.
The taxis with bald front wheel drive tires try to get up the hill next to us in the middle of the night, trying to take drunk people home. And then there's the drunk people that try to come home, who just do a really bad job.
And they're loud about it.
And there's just rocks hitting the fence, ding, 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 off their tires. There was a lot of noise. It was constant. Loja gas guy. There's a truck that drives around and delivers gas, which is how you get propane for cooking, heating, hot water, whatever else. But it plays like a little jingle. I don't even remember the jingle.
I can't even remember it now.
And this happens 15 times a day that you have to hear the jingle, like, no, 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 because they just drive around, and if you hear it, you can just run out and hand them a tank, they'll hand you a new one.
Which is real convenient, but it is noisy.
Now, there was the one time a week trash pickup. Was it once or twice?
No.
Where they come to the houses and pick up trash. And the trash in Loja, they actually play this really beautiful, like little like musical kind of like, it's a musical garbage truck. And the whole city does it.
I love it.
But every different city has their own like little musical like signature kind of bit. Some are a little more festive. Loja's was a little more like kind of classic. And it was like, that's the best sounding garbage truck ever. And that one we tuned out. Like if you needed to hear it, you would hear it. And if you didn't, it was just background like pleasantness. But anyway, a lot of noise.
We're just not town people, city people. We're just not.
So now we get night birds.
But beyond all of like the atmosphere part of it, we wouldn't be able to do what we want to do in life in town.
No. Because the real estate's dumb expensive too.
Yeah.
Compared to where we are.
Let's see. The fruit that is behind you that looks like bananas is bananas. They're bananas.
No.
Bananas.
They're Ritos. Here, banana for scale.
Oh no. They are not large bananas.
At any one time, there's at least one rack hanging behind us. Usually two. There's one in the van.
There's one in the van. We just haven't gotten out yet.
Because they take like a week to kind of ripen. It's only that big.
It's a little banana.
They're firmer. They're delightfully delicious. They're really cheap too. These are great snacks. I don't like regular bananas. I think they're gross and pithy and
they are
icky.
Gross and yeah.
But these are delightful. And they vary bit to bit. But like that whole rack, that's $2. And realistically, they break down to about a penny a piece.
Yep. And as far as how we eat them, you just eat them.
Yeah.
Like a banana. Or you feed them to any
but
one of the
right
animals.
Size. A regular banana is like, oh my gosh, I have to get through this giant mushy banana. These are half the size, denser, like sweet. They have better everything.
I also make a delicious jam.
Oh yeah.
Now you can't do that with regular bananas because that'd be gross. I did it once; it was gross. But these are firmer and hold like their texture better. So banana pineapple jam is the thing.
Banana pineapple jam on a pancake is delightful. Yes.
Yes. Do you see my emails? No.
Who's?
No. Let me check our spam when we're off the live.
Yeah.
There are. I've been getting a lot of things in spam because Gmail thinks that it is smarter and knows more than me and knows what I want in life. It's wrong most of the time.
Google's really gone downhill.
So I'll check and see.
I could rant for a long time on
I know.
Like whatever they're doing over there. We have horrible problems with our emails going to spam, other people's going to spam. If we don't respond, we didn't get it.
Yeah.
If we get it, we respond. We respond to everything we get. But
there's times where it lives in spam or in some other random folder that they've created, and I just lose it.
Yeah.
I'm planning on moving to and retiring in Ecuador. Is a person allowed to bring their personal car or truck? No.
Unless you're handicapped. But that might only be for Ecuadorians.
I don't think it counts. So I don't know on that one.
There's an exemption for handicapped people that they can import whatever they want without like tariffs or things. And they can do like one every 2 years, but it may only be for Ecuadorians. It may not be for foreigners.
I don't think any foreigners can bring a vehicle in. Now, a vehicle is not just a car or a truck. It is also, what is it? Anything with a seat, a motor, and wheels?
Any two of the three.
Any of the two.
Riding lawnmower.
Well, that has a seat and it does all three.
Right. They tell me straight out, golf carts, no, motorcycles, out quads, like motor vehicles.
You have to have a seat because you could bring a lawnmower.
Well, not a riding lawnmower. Sorry, I'm thinking like fancy lawnmower.
Got it. I was thinking.
Right. You can bring a push mower, but you better clean the schnargles out of it because if they find any green inside, the customs has a fit that you're trying to smuggle in some sort of like fungus in the biosecurity protocol.
Yeah. So no vehicles.
No.
Which is a bummer.
Yes.
We are hoping to get a property near Stavilka eventually. I want to have a farm there, so we follow it anyway. Oh yeah. Well,
you could.
You can.
I would personally recommend against it.
I would at least consider other places.
For two reasons. One, farm.
It's not the greatest place to farm.
It's not. It has two pretty solid seasons, and the dry one is dry, like it gets
windy,
like desert dry and windy. I had an agriculture project down there. The soil is pretty much dead. You can fix it. You can build it. You can add compost. You can do other things. You can do raised beds. So it kind of depends on what kind of farm you want, but there's some terrible issues with that. Some things do okay.
There's some water issues. There are properties that do not have water or have regulated. Regulated is not the word I want.
Well,
restricted water?
Yeah, so most of the water is done. They have these like weird canals that run on the hills, which is just like a cement canal where they They just build it onto the end of the hill, and they funnel the water from somewhere else. And you pay a fee to have access to the canal. Now, if people upstream are using all the water, you get none until they close their little gate, because you have like little gates. It's all gravity flow. It's not in pipes. Also, as we found out, that the local water district people, administration, whatever, there's no laws to govern that. So they can charge everybody in the district $4 a month for water access, and they can charge you $400 if they want to be like that. And we actually had an incident where where we had to go and argue with them, and this whole thing. So that was sort of a thing. There's other issues with Vilca area. I know it's well hyped. There's security issues. There's violence, robberies, worse. I have a good friend of mine. His very good friend is on the police force, so he gets all of the crime reports. He's in all the situation meetings, all the planning things. He's like tapped into the whole kind of thing, and no, it's pretty bad. There south of Loja is got some issues. Now you could find yourself a little off valley and sort of just like hide, but
as far as them being part of a community, I think it's pretty tough.
Yeah, and there's some cool people there. There is a community there. Unfortunately, that community is what attracted the bad actors. It kind of is what it is. So just know that. There's also issues with the roads there. So Vilca is south of Loja, and basically Loja is the last real stop for supplies all the way to Peru. So Vilca is normally a little less than an hour. You up the grade and over the pass, and you drop into Loja. So, it's a couple hours for a major supply run, groceries. But the road's gone right now. And it continues to be gone and gone and gone. It goes every year, and they sort of like dig at it and fix it, and then it goes again. But it's a giant hill of like stacked river rock. That's just the way that nature built it, and it is inherently unstable. So it's closed again. So to get there, you have to go around through an equally not great road that goes all the way through Catamayo and all the way around that more than doubles the journey.
It is also sometimes closed.
And is also sometimes closed. And then from there, there's areas that are south, and while there's some beautiful real estate and some nice climates,
we looked at it.
But we very nearly bought all the way out in Valladolid, which is near Palanda. But from Loja, your distance to supplies keeps getting further and further and further and further. And then my friend down in Zumba, who's close to Peru, the buses have even stopped going because the roads are so bad. And he talks about it. He goes, you can't go more than 25 kilometers an hour. The roads are horrifically bad. It is like kidney rattling, sort of terrible. It takes him right now about 8 hours to get to Loja to buy supplies, and there's nothing of any size south of that. Everything starts in Loja, so every trip thereafter is everything is more expensive. Supply chains. Sorry. Rant.
I know, I'm used to it. The jam. It's really simple. Pineapple. It's Aritos. It really has to be Aritos. I haven't found any other bananas that work. But if you have different varieties of bananas, you might find one that's also like super firm and doesn't just like
dense. It
doesn't just mush. And I chop those up and throw them in a pan with some water and a squeeze of lime. Just keeps the bananas from getting brown. And I cook that till it's jammy. Sometimes you have to add sugar if it's a terrible pineapple, but otherwise, it's really good.
Yeah,
it's so good. How about our tomatoes? Whoa. Have you tried to dig out the tomato area, then burn the dirt in thin layers, then refill the dirt and inoculate it with a multi-strain myco powder? I mean, that would be cool.
It would be cool.
We don't have
with two
that.
problems. One, I don't have the cool mycobes anymore. I used to. I used to be a hydroponic grower, so I used to be totally in that sort of world with access to like all the latest and greatest. If we did that, we've only inoculated it for a period of time until something else decides to overtake that ecosystem, and then we get into. We found an interesting history tidbit. Where we are in the Andes is the origination of blight.
Potato famine.
Yeah, the Great Potato Famine. So all of the funguses that are related to blight exist here, plus more.
Yay!
Like all of them, and their cousins, and their brothers, and their things. So it's really hard to grow certain things. Now, peppers fall into that. Your bell peppers, give up. There's some other local ones that are longer, but still sweet peppers. They get a little better, but not enough to get a crop out of it.
I mean, anything local is going to simply do better because it is more.
It's better.
Yeah.
But then we found some hot peppers. They're little red things that firecrackers, man. You got to be careful with those. But absolutely unaffected.
Oh, they're just big trees.
And they just grow forever. And we've seen them in other people's yards. It literally the pepper just keeps going, and it just becomes a tree. It never dies. It never has winter. That's it. It just grows forever. It
doesn't seem affected by insects or blight or anything.
You could open a hot sauce business based on one plant because it's huge and it keeps dropping peppers year round. So what we're trying to do is trying to get some starts going of the other peppers, and I'm going to do some grafting to steal the rootstocks of the peppers that don't die now that we found them, and graft on. There's some semi-hot sweet orange peppers that we really like, that we use a lot of. In some of the other bell peppers, like
yeah.
Yep, that's going to be my next way of trying to defeat them.
That's the hope.
Because if I inoculate the soil, like it just rains and it washes down from somewhere else, and things fall and animals track it around, like you're not going to maintain your correct ecosystem out in nature.
How long does it normally take to get citizenship in Ecuador by qualifying and using the $50,000 investment visa? Citizenship is a long way off if you want to go that route.
People say it's not worth it. It's not really needed unless you want the passport.
Yep.
But they say it's a bunch of money. It's a bunch of work. And permanent residency grants you basically every same right.
You can
except
vote,
for the passport.
You can. I can't think of anything else right now. You can do all the things.
You can do all the things.
You just don't have the passport. You can't call yourself a citizen, I guess.
Yes, but it's you do your visitor visa, and then you work on your
temporary visa.
Temporary visa, and then
which is 2 years. You have to have that for 2 years, and that's what you need your what is it now, $47,000 investment, and you need that for your temporary visa.
Yep.
And am I right? Well, I was second guessing myself.
No, you need to get it during your temporary visa. No,
you have to get it for your temporary visa.
Remember you get it for your, right. You get it for your temporary visa, but you only have to hold it during your temporary visa.
And as soon as you get permanent residency, you can sell it.
Right.
Which would be
Which is how we got to the point of we have our visa property that is lovely over in Zamora and is for sale, and would solve our financial woes.
Boy.
And if anybody out there thinks that we're just super awesome and has the ability to help financially,
that's
we have $6 to our name at the moment. And I was supposed to have some work lined up for this week, and then the guy had to go on some trip to get some paperwork somewhere else. So yeah, we have a coffee link. They take no commission, unlike the YouTube. If you do a YouTube donation,
I mean, we appreciate all donations. Don't get me wrong.
We do,
but if you actually
every single penny.
If you actually want us to get every single penny, going through YouTube is the worst way. Honestly,
they take a big chunk.
They take a good chunk,
and then they take a month and a half to get it to us.
That too. So if you ever want to donate, coffee is the easiest way for us. And
KOFI. Is it?
There's a link
We have a
in
link.
every description.
Yeah, no
So
fees, no nothing. Every bit of it goes straight to us. And oh my gosh,
you guys have literally kept us alive.
Yes. So we try to help as much as possible for people that are interested.
Yeah. I want to do earthworm composting and raise mealworms and black soldier flies
We tried
to
those.
freeze dry and sell as feed. So it'd all be indoor, and that would be like if you did in Vilca. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you could.
You can.
Totally.
There is a big operation in Vilca. What's it called?
I don't know.
God, what's her nuts runs it? I'm sucking with the names. There's a big operation. There's a lady who's down in Kinara. It's like Living Soils or something. And I've worked with her. She's good. And they do compost, like specific biological compost. And they look at it like from a very solid, like kind of scholarly angle. They have a very powerful microscope. They verify like every batch, the microbes, the funguses. They look at it. They can do reports. They do soil testing. They're pretty solid. I don't know that they do earthworms.
I don't know. I wasn't there.
So there is some market for that. This soil does need it. So what you get is the strong UV light burns out the organics. The organics are gone. So you have to replace the organics in the soil. But then you have to bring back the fungal dominance to the soil because it's massively bacterially weighted. When they look at it, they're like, it's all bacteria. There's all the funguses are dead because you have this this weird like super hot dry and then super wet and then the sun and yeah, the ground is just hard and chunky. We did revitalize some of it. It is possible, and we grew some good successful test crops. Totally possible.
Gives me hope for here.
Yeah.
It just takes time. That's the main thing. It just takes a lot of time.
We keep working our soil, keep adding to it.
Every time it's better.
And every time, we put the shovel in and it goes a little deeper and it looks a little better and a little blacker.
It's just slow.
It's slow.
Do you use an umbrella school for homeschooling? Yeah, the farm school is sort of an umbrella school. It's sort of its own oddball thing that solves the problem of you really don't want a school to be involved in curriculum or dictating anything, but it does take care of all the legal part of it, and it gives you transcripts, all the paperwork, diploma, legal coverage, which is good.
But lets you teach what you want, where you want.
Yeah. So it doesn't come with any sort of curriculum. That's all on you. But yeah, it's good, and it's really cheap. I think it's like $80 a year or something.
Yeah,
so it's really cheap, which is really nice. It is based in Tennessee, and they do have like an actual facility, but it basically worldwide wherever you are, as long as you are following your local guidelines. They don't really care. You guys showed a video of the river by Yant Zaza when it was flooded. Concerned about bridges and so forth. I don't think there's been a follow-up. It was kind of a mess.
Yeah, it's been a pretty crazy rain here. Now, the big bridges near us that we see are all generally fine. They're well above even super flood stage.
Yeah. Some of the smaller bridges definitely
the older bridges, some of the smaller ones. There was a couple that gave up. They'll get them fixed. They do that. The roads wash out here. Road crews there that day, that evening.
Yeah.
I got caught behind one. There was a huge mudslide. I went and slept for 2 hours at a gas station and then came back and they already had it clean and open. Like they'd already rolled equipment. So they don't wait for, they don't have this whole thing with like project planners and engineers and things. No, dude, go. Boom.
And they just
dude does it. Just plows it out, does whatever it has to do to get it open. So if there's a road that's habitually not open, it's because it's like geologically problematic. Like the one to Vilca. No, pretty awesome about in general, getting roads back open here.
Um,
But that differs from area to area, canton to canton,
yeah.
based on their budgets and their things and their.
I know there are some that have been lax in repairs.
Yes, ours, the Zamora
The
province, where we are, is really
We're pretty good at it.
impressive.
Yeah.
Better than the U.S.
But we have, was it Guineo? Is that how you say that?
Guineo Seca? Silk banana?
No. It's like a mix of the banana plantain. Remember, like the hybrid banana plantain sort of. Yeah.
But there's one they call Guineo Seda, which is silk banana, I think is the translation. Which, yeah, we have one in the yard.
Yeah.
It's got a thicker skin. It's just a little creamier.
Softer.
It's softer than a Norito. It's got a nice flavor. People around here like them.
But the sort of like banana plantain mix would work really good for the jam. I've actually put plantain in it before. Like, as long as it's really ripe plantain, that works well. You just need it to be super ripe.
There is a limitless amount of like, because bananas and platanos are landrace here, there's like an endless amount of varieties. Like, it's crazy. You go to the market and you just like, that's different than that one, is different from that one. And then if you taste them, even though we get these every week, there's all sort of variants. There was ones we used to get that had a strong smell of vanilla. I really liked those.
Great post on Substack today. Thank you. Where would you recommend me looking for land that is in the southern half of the country? I have an autistic 7-year-old kiddo. I homeschool, and I'm a single mom. Okay, I can see why Vilka's appealing. Totally. I completely get that. You sort of then have like a community and activities and things. Totally get it. I wouldn't do it, especially as a single mom. I would not do that as a mother.
There was a video, and this was before it got bad. I don't know, a year ago, that people there that do videos, and they were talking about like, oh well, you really want to be.
Did you just say people there that do videos?
That's all I'm going to say about them.
Okay.
And they, being the local experts on this in Vilka, said that you needed to have a gate, bars on your windows, cameras, live close to neighbors, have a good alarm system.
Trained guard dogs.
And they were working with people doing bite training for the dog. Wow. And we just watched this video and went,
anywhere that you would describe, I don't care where, that I need all of those things to be safe, I'm not interested.
This is your idea of selling it?
No.
Holy cow. Our house is made of fabric. You could break into it with a stick.
Sometimes we leave a machete outside to make it easy.
We do.
We do.
Literally. Nothing happens where we, like, crime is like so fantastically low here. It's kind of awesome. Vilka has, in surrounding areas, has an issue.
So
yes, you get the community. Yes, you now have that increased risk. My one friend who was there, he had a forced entry 3 different times. Once while he was there.
Just so scary. To me, that's so much scarier.
So all your electronics gone, things, broken windows, and there was more after that. He had cameras and gates and alarms and things and dogs. They still do. That only slows them down. And they're getting more sophisticated. They're doing like drone surveillance. They've got people getting, like, he said that where he is, which is more south, people are even selling their nice cars, like in his area, and getting pieces of crap because they know that the cartel are using spotters, and they spot the nice cars, then they follow you home, and somebody watches to know your schedule, and they know when to break in. So literally it's causing people to get rid of their nice cars and buy beaters.
It's crazy.
I'm sorry, I'm out.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're not trying to, like, rain on your parade, but just from a safety standpoint, especially as a single mom, I would not recommend it.
We let Eli.
He just wanders off.
We've been in town before and just like, here's $1. Go buy some fruit or something, and he's gone.
But all the kids do. Everybody's
There's kids
little kids are by themselves.
Like a year, 2 years, and they just wander
Well, maybe
around
not that
and things.
much.
And,
I mean,
at the markets and stuff.
Yeah, there's no.
In Loja, you'll watch the kids come out of school, and from the smallest kids, they're like 2 feet tall. They're as tall as the backpack with shoes on. And they're getting into taxis.
On buses.
And on buses, like city buses, not school buses, city buses. And I'm like, that child's like, it can't be more than like 4 or something, and he's literally just getting into a taxi, or she is, and paying $1 for the taxi to take him home. Just public taxis, just whoever. There's no fear. There's not like in the U.S. There was always this fear of like, oh my God, there's child snatching things and bad people and
because there is
PDF files and
because there is. I mean, that exists for that fear exists for a reason. Here, just not so much. Now by here we mean here. Now, where would we recommend for you in the southern half of the country?
Well, first, what kind of climate do you want?
Well, and do you want to live, if you want land, do you want to live really rural? Do you want to live like just outside of a town?
If you go to like our local small town that's, I don't know how many people, is 1,000?
Something like that.
A couple thousand. And you go like 2 or 3 streets away from the main street, nature.
Yeah, it's
so all of a sudden you're like, you could just buy like a big like plot of land or a house with a big yard,
and you'd be like walking distance to town.
And you're literally 3 short blocks to like the main street.
Yeah. I would definitely go for a smaller community. I just think they're safer in general across the world. I just think they're safer. And
here, you can wander up and down the street. It's totally
and I
safe.
would absolutely say out this direction in the Orient.
So
if you look at the southern part, you should like Cuenca. Well, no. Guayaquil, absolutely not. Don't do it. And then
the whole coast is problematic.
Trash.
That's where your crime is.
And then while basically Cuenca to Loja is really beautiful, it's very cold. I mean, cold. I know it's not cold, but it's cold.
It's high elevation.
It's higher elevation. You won't be able to grow as much. That being said, it is very, very pretty. And the people are very nice. And then you get into Loja and south, and that's a big no, in our opinion.
Loja's on the verge of like, it was really nice and was really safe.
I think it's really going downhill though.
And I keep hearing more and more stories about like, no, crime is starting to appear in Loja. And from the people there, they're talking about it being unsafe. Now, that is from the perspective of having a very safe like city of, again, we would have let the child just wander around.
I didn't feel comfortable in Loja with him. I didn't. There's just too many people. There's just simply more risk with more people. That's just a fact of a big city.
But the people there who live there didn't worry about it. So from their perspective, it was getting more dangerous. But that's also, these aren't people that were used to living in like Chicago or Atlanta or San Francisco. Perspective. What are you kind of used to? But then you come over the pass to Zamora, and Zamora is a smaller kind of town. That's the start of the Oriente, and then from there it stretches on for a few hours, which is where we are. Is out in this. It's called the Oriente, big huge valley. It's pretty. It's nice. It's temperate.
The safest part of the country.
Yeah, there's hot spots of some problems.
But as far as like countrywide crime issues, there just isn't here.
Yeah.
And if you want activities for the kiddo, you're going to want to be somewhat near a somewhat large town.
Yeah.
There's Zamora, and then there's Zumbi, which is actually bigger than I originally thought. It's just not like you have to cross a bridge, so I don't think I've ever seen how big it was until we went across it. I'm like, oh, this is like a legitimate town.
Yeah.
And then, I'm sure there's activities there and things.
It's the other one that starts with a C that I always liked.
Cumbraza?
No.
Oh.
No, it has the little road that goes out to it.
Chicanya.
Chicanya.
Chicanya is a really small town, though, and you're pretty dang far away from things. Just as reference, I don't think there'd be a whole lot as far as like
it's a lot bigger
activities
than
and things.
Towns.
It's real small.
No. Anyway,
It's real
you
small.
could look it
It's
up
beautiful.
on Google Maps. Chicanya.
But yeah, and then honestly, if you just look outside of Yantzaza and sort of start there and like work your way out.
If you do a bullseye on Yantzaza and then you sort of look around it, there's a couple of like spots where I would say no. There's a town called Paquisha, which is too close to gold mining.
It's got some issues with
and
crime
it's got
there.
some issues with cartels and they're trying to stick their noses up in the gold mine, and the people doing artisanal mining like just
kind of a mess
next to their house.
Yeah.
It's a very local kind of problem. It's really centered around the gold. Yeah.
Also, if you're ever if you're seriously looking for property and just want to talk and have some sort of help in just even brainstorming, let us know.
Yeah. We do official consultations, and we can talk through all sorts of details that way.
Having issues.
Oh, so many comments.
I'm having technical problems. Okay, there. Where was I? I'm sorry, I got lost. It scrolled without me. Well, what would it cost to rent a 2 to 3 bedroom apartment or house in Yantzaza or close to?
Few hundred.
Yeah.
$200, $300, $400 a month.
Depends on furnished or not.
Yeah.
A lot of them are at least basic furnished.
Yeah.
Here.
I did one that was a local thing. It was a quirky little apartment that they were building. It was a few $100s a month, and they were just building it, so it was going to be like fresh. A few $100. Nice places, you get a nice place for $400. You get a small house, $400. There was one in Zamora that was it's right next to the property we own there, and it's beautiful, and it sits on like the guy built this like kind of recreational campground. It's on the river. You can go and play in it. There's a rope swing, and not like the big polluted river, but like a little mountain river that's 20 feet wide. Glass and fancy woodwork and just like gorgeous. $400, utilities, internet, everything. And he probably would have negotiated from that just a little bit.
In January, we spoke to a lawyer in Cuenca, and citizenship is 5 years. I think it's 5 years after your permanent residency. I think you have to be a permanent resident for 5 years.
Oh.
That's what I think.
Okay.
But that's, I don't think
the lawyer would know more.
I'm never interested. I just have no interest in it, honestly.
Yeah.
I think he needs fluent Spanish test. Yeah, at least that's.
Yeah.
Should we be fluent? Yes. Do I ever want to take a test? No.
Yeah.
Do people
getting a license to drive does require that you speak Spanish? Fluent, passable is probably the name of the game there. But that also means when you come, you have to have your high school or college.
Is it either?
Well, one is more than the other. But at least a high school diploma, and it has to be officialized.
Officialized?
Word.
Apostille?
Apostille.
Officialized. I like that. I'm gonna go with that.
Which is notarized and then apostilled, to prove that because that was their idea to like reduce like accidents. Was only educated people could get licenses. So you have to have that.
I don't know that worked out, but okay.
And then your driving record.
Yeah. Do people near you have just like a couple cows for milk, or do you see herds of cows anywhere? There's herds of cows everywhere. Oh, let's read that.
Small. People do small herds.
Mostly, yeah.
Like the family farm, what a person or two can take care of, is really common.
Like a dozen cows.
Yeah. 2, 3 dozen, something like that. 2 or 3 to a dozen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they milk them. There's a whole milk network, which is sort of
really
fascinating. So you see people, if you drive around.
We just sort of had to figure this out over time.
7, 8, 9 in the morning, there's just people wandering up into the hills wearing who knows what, carrying a bucket. And then they're going to milk all the cows first thing in the morning. Okay. And then all that milk comes down, and then there's a truck that drives around with a big tank, and it all gets dumped in, and there's some sort of system for giving you credit for that. And then that goes to a local processing station.
And these are all very local, too. They're not like all going to a big city
substations where the trucks come and dump, and then it goes to another truck, and then like it gets processed. But like there's this whole like milk aggregation.
So people aren't just milking for themselves; it's part of their business.
It is. I don't know how lucrative it is.
I don't know. Oh.
So many hand gestures. If you've watched me on videos, you see that I'm a frequent user of hand gestures. My solar battery video that I just did that nobody saw, like, oh my gosh, it only has like a couple hundred views. I was so sad. We couldn't find a still frame in like the whole thing where I wasn't making some face or hand gesture wildly.
Both.
We just sat here laughing hysterically, just clicking like random frames, trying to find a good one for a thumbnail. Sorry.
Is it worth raising soldier fly larvae to feed the chickens? And if you were wanting to feed your fish, if a person were to grow fish? We tried. We failed. We did never try again.
We
could have just tried again.
Disassembled the soldier fly larva bucket. I'm going to recycle it for something else.
We could have tried again. It ended up really just being more work than we wanted to put into it, to be honest.
There's enough bugs if you just let the chickens out.
Yeah.
They'll just go eat.
Yeah, if you're going to keep them in a smaller space, I think it would be totally worth it.
Yes.
We just didn't need one more thing to like keep up at the moment.
And then other things got in there.
It was sort of a moldy. I think we may also just have too many insects, and it becomes a bit of an issue with trying to be just very specific.
And this may be specific to us, to the bugs here, the humidity, being next to a forest, and sort of like virgin territory of like, we just have a lot of bug pressure. It's not to say it wouldn't work.
There's a woman trying to get out of Vilca right now. $275,000 home. Add bars to the windows, barbed wire, 6-foot fence, guard dogs. Yep.
And she still wants out, huh?
There's a lot of people that are realizing.
Someone left a comment on one of her videos a while back and was angry at us about like saying this out loud. And they're like, yeah, everyone's leaving. Everyone's like running away. And they were someone from there. And I'm like, why are you mad at me? I didn't try to convince you to do it.
I recommend a single mom come to Cuenca, huge expat support system and safe. Why do you say no to Cuenca? I don't say no to Cuenca. I don't know enough about Cuenca. It's also a big city. I'm not ever going to be big on a big city personally. And if you want land, it's going to be more expensive near a big city.
That's our only. Big cities have big city problems. So if you look at crime stats across Ecuador, Guayaquil is just the clear winner. Down the coast, even the smaller towns have problems. Quito has
big city problems.
Cuenca has some, not a ton. It's less,
but still some.
That's all.
That's all. Yeah.
Personal preference, but there may be a wonderful like community there. I can't speak to it.
Okay. So I need a place that doesn't get hotter normally than about 85 degrees. I can't do the super high elevation like Cuenca. Yeah, we're not. Oh, yeah, the elevation's not our friend. We want to live in a small community with walking distance, but probably have farmland further away. Okay.
A lot of people here do that.
A lot of people.
There's a lot of people that have a finca, which may or may not have a house on it or even somebody in it.
Yep.
And then they have a little house in town, and then they just like they come and they check on cows or they plant some crops and walk away.
Honestly, it's all affordable enough here. You can do that, and you can even stay on like weekends or something on your farm.
Yeah,
people do it.
People do
it all the time.
Our neighbors do it. Actually, one neighbor just told us of a property, a couple valleys over that's for sale, and it's just over 1,000 a hectare. 30 hectares for like 30 some grand, and I'm like,
solid deal.
They want to know if I want. I'm like, I don't have any money.
Solid deal though.
We're trying to figure out how to eat, but we're white, so to them we have money.
It's so funny. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend Cotacachi either. It is having problems as well as an expat location. That's the problem. You want the expat community, which is great, but that also tends to bring problems.
It is attractive to the criminal type.
It's annoying.
We call them poop heads.
We do.
Call them poop heads all the time. Who see you as soft targets. You're not armed in any way because laws. You probably have resources because you moved to Ecuador. So you have more money than they do.
Or they at least think that.
And being an outsider, you probably aren't going to go to the police or be able to work the system to actually do anything about it. And they use that in their favor.
Yeah.
So it's a whole lot of big soft targets.
Yeah. Where was I? Sorry. Clearly tired. What? Sorry. During the 2-year temporary, don't leave more than 6 months. That's not true anymore, is it?
I don't think so.
I feel like it wasn't true anymore. I feel like it changed. But I can't say that for sure. It was that way, and I don't know if it is anymore.
So last that I know, but I have not kept up on it in the last year or so, was that they removed the restriction of location residency. So you can apply for your temporary and you can leave as much as you want. It used to be you had to limit your out-of-country time, but then the lawyer, like ours was actually marked that, and he goes, but they've changed it. And they changed it right on the cusp. So our documents say one thing, but he goes, but if they look it up and they reference it, it actually says you have no restrictions whatsoever, which is the new law. Okay.
We weren't going to leave anyway.
We're not.
We're not that.
We're not the jet setter type.
I see the Google Maps. Time to drive from Cuenca to Zaza. What is the real time? I assume Google means nothing there. You're right. Google means nothing. Most people
do not use Google.
Most people that talk about okay, yeah. Some people are wrong. You'll see a lot of real estate listings about how far something is from somewhere else. That's wrong. That's silly. If you drive like that, you'll die.
Oh, it's just an hour's drive. In a jet, airplane.
Not real. Not true. Or, it's only a 30-minute hike to... No.
It's a 30-minute hike for a world record mountain climber used to the altitude. Once.
These things are not true.
Okay, Google. Yeah.
Cuenca de Zaza is a long freaking way.
Google has the roads pretty solid. None of the times are right.
No. Directions
are questionable. People here don't really use it too much. I don't know that there's a replacement that anyone uses. Really just don't. Like I remember we were in Loja and I was trying to find stuff, so I go to like Google and I'm trying to look up like, where's this? I'm looking for this thing or this part or this like blah blah blah. No. There's nothing. And finally I found this place that had good eggs. So I took a picture and I put them on Google Maps. And it's like one of like 4 things within the square mile that's on Google Maps as a business, even though like it's literally just businesses line all the streets. That's what that is. And it's been viewed like 18,000 times, but nobody puts this stuff on.
Mm-hmm. So Cuenca de Zaza, let's see. Well, Cuenca de Loja was a rough road.
You can probably just estimate 60 kilometers an hour.
Well, yeah, but it's very difficult because
there's sections if your vehicle goes faster. Ours doesn't. And you can go faster. And like in the Oriente, there's a lot of pretty straight roads that run up and down the valley. And then you get up into the mountains and it's all twisty.
But if you're looking at Cuenca, like Cuenca de Loja is a unpleasant, I mean, it's a really rough road though.
We jumped the van.
It's a really rough road, okay?
So we had to go to get our cedulas, which is in Cuenca. That's just like the closest place that we could do that. And then we're coming back, and it's been a long day. And the lady
a very stressful day. Okay.
Who gives out the cedulas does not like Americans, so we had huge hurdles just because of our skin color and our origin. Some people are like that. They happen everywhere. So we're tired. We're driving back. It's dark. And there's like the occasional like cracks in the road.
And that was my job. In all of our traveling around the country looking for properties, my job, he's driving, my job is to just pay attention to the road and point out all the scary things that might happen on the road.
And we didn't, there was just I
was tired and we were almost home.
And we just couldn't see it because the road goes this.
And then it drops.
Which in reality was like this. And we're like, oh no, boom. And the little van, it was like the Dukes of Hazzard. There just wasn't the
Hurt.
yeehaw.
No.
And we sailed that poor little van. I just changed a ball joint. That may have started going bad about that time.
Yeah.
We jumped it a good ways.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the road
They've probably fixed it since then.
And then it's gotten worse again. As usual.
But
Yeah, I don't know.
Subsidence.
Cuenca to Yanzas is a long way. You could probably, I mean, you can go the other way, but we've never done it.
Yeah.
Where you don't go back through Aloha, and you go up Gualaquiza and that way. But I have no idea how long that takes because I've never done it.
You might find bus schedules posted.
Okay, but you gotta unless you're gonna drive like a bus.
No, it's pretty solid because the buses stop a bunch, and then they drive like a maniac. But then they stop.
That's true. Maybe it equals out.
They average a pretty normal, good pace. I don't know if they post their schedules or if they just run. Yeah, whatever it says, the kilometers, I would probably just average at 60.
Whereabouts do you guys live?
Right here.
Right here.
We're just we're a little past Yanzazo.
Yeah. It's about as close as we like to give information.
Yeah.
That's our closest bigger town.
Yeah, so we're in Yanzazo once a week for supplies and groceries. Yeah. And then there's some other little small towns around that you can also get stuff in. It's just not the selection.
I took a shuttle van, Cuenca to Loja. I believe it was 4 to 6 hours. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Shuttle van. They usually drive like a maniac.
I would say it was probably about 6 hours.
And they don't stop. Yeah. So I would probably aim towards the high side of that.
I mean, no, you're gonna stop more than they do.
Yeah.
It seems like the visa process for foreigners is so much easier than in Colombia. But everything else is so similar. We're currently getting crazy rains, and all the roads are getting mudslides. I was seeing things about Colombia. Yeah, it's been unpleasant here as far as the rainy season. It's been rough.
There's been a lot of rain. Nothing catastrophic where we are.
No, where we are, but for the country in general.
The country has had a fairly catastrophic. Most provinces, except for ours, was in a state of emergency at some point.
Ours was too.
Was it?
That last flooding that we covered.
There was some low-lying towns and stuff that flooded.
Yeah. But overall, way less than most of the country.
Yep.
And then there's Esmeraldas, which has just had everything bad happen there. I feel bad for them. There was the crude oil spill, pipeline leak.
Yeah.
Whatever it was.
Is that the explosion? The refinery?
Well, no. So there was that, and then it was they got hit really bad with the rain multiple times.
Right. Flooded and flooded, roads out and flooded.
And then they had the earthquake, the 6-point-something earthquake, which damaged the refinery, and then they had a fire.
They also had a prison break.
Might have been Esmeralda. No, I don't know. It was a lot. I feel bad for them.
Man.
Rough times.
It's rough times. Most of the country has had a worse time than here.
Which is not what we expected, to be honest.
No.
Because it rains here we are wet. We are humid. We are always moist. I thought we would have an equally bad rainy season as the rest of the country, but for some reason we really haven't.
No, it's been...
We'll complain and be like, it's raining, it's muddy, and I'll look at other places in the country.
Our cows didn't wash away.
It's okay.
Our house didn't wash away.
The vehicle didn't wash away.
Oh, our paths are muddy. Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, it's...
Alright. Okay. Asking where we were because it seemed like we don't like any area of Ecuador. Well, we chose here because we thought it was the best.
Everything has its positives and its negatives.
And a lot of it's personal taste.
Yeah, you choose what's best for you.
If you want somewhere higher elevation, cooler, there's lots of options.
We didn't like that. We would complain that it's too cold and we can't grow things.
Yep.
There's lower.
Which is too hot for us.
Hot and swampy. There's places where there's a lot more people and clubs and things. That would be too much noise and maybe some crime.
Thing.
So we like what we like. And you have to understand that is our perspective, and we're only giving our perspective. Use it as such.
Yeah. Now, we did not come here really intending or we didn't really come here wanting an expat community exactly. Kind of, but not really.
We were going to start a community.
That's why I say it's complicated. But it was very specific. When I say community, I mean very small. I did not intend or want to only be with other expats.
No.
Some people do, and that's what you want. That's great. That's not our thing.
Yeah.
We like the local community that we're part of.
Yeah. We've met some wonderful people. And they'll, are like, we were always told by people from like Vilka, like, oh, they're like the locals with this, the locals that. Like, you really have this us and them sort of like dichotomy. And they'll take advantage of you, and they'll charge you more, and they'll this and they're that. And we were told that by people who've lived there for 20 years, like, oh, they'll never lower a price for you. It happens all the time to us.
Such good experience.
Oh my God, people will save things for us.
Well, even when we were in Loja.
Yeah.
So it's not just a small town thing.
No.
Even in Loja, like everybody was really.
So maybe we're just not a-holes to people and treat them like lesser something. I mean, maybe there's just.
I don't know.
Yes,
what you expect out of a situation. If you expect something to happen, you're going to.
We were told mechanics would like steal parts off your cars. I just gave out a recommendation
experiences
for a mechanic in Loja that I said is not just an excellent mechanic. He's a good human. And I don't say that about a lot of people. He's like a really good human just as a person, and I would utterly trust him. And I sent him a friend of mine that needed help to contact him. Yeah, no concerns. I met a lot of wonderful people.
Is there a primary school in Yantzaza? Oh, yeah.
They're everywhere.
Yep.
There's probably 5 between here and Yantzaza.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, every little town has a school.
Yeah. A lot of times in the small towns, it will be all grades together in a school, like you get in any small town.
Yeah.
Which I think might actually have its benefits personally.
But like our local town, I think they said there was like 10 kids of like a bunch of ages, and it just wasn't feasible for them to run like a school for that age range. So they just put them in the next school, which is only 10 minutes away, in the slightly bigger town, which is a large school with many hundreds of children.
Yeah. Do you guys know anything about exporting farm products we make from Ecuador to the USA? I've seen a ton about importing from the US, but I can't find anything about exporting. Yes, we do know. You have to be an exporter.
There's that.
Like a person cannot. You have to.
We looked at becoming it to be a registered import exporter. You have to work with a. There's things you have to do. You have to register. You have to bank account. You have to have some paperwork, and then really you need to work with somebody who's in that business. We send people to Paul all the time because he does that. If you need his contact info, email us.
Yeah, like if you're bringing in a container or anything.
If you're bringing in a container, oh my gosh, you want to talk to Paul. If you're exporting stuff, and we talked about doing commercial stuff, and he does commercial as well. He knows the people, he knows the process, he knows the things. He's been doing it for many years. He even knows the loopholes and the little sneaky pass through the system.
Which you sometimes want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as far as us personally, like, no.
It's something we'll probably do in the future.
Yes.
But we're just not there yet. Colombia had an earthquake today.
We haven't even got to looking at earthquakes.
I haven't gotten there yet.
That's usually like our nightly
I look at the
with
earthquakes.
Dinner kind of like, and we look at the earthquakes on the whole world. We look at weather, we look at things, news.
I think it sounds so exciting.
That's her.
Hey!
You're excited.
You watch pottery. We're such exciting people.
I'm building a kiln.
No, it's true.
So I'm not learn about pottery.
I'm not against any of these things. It just sounds so boring.
Make some lovely things out of ceramics.
What elevation are we at?
We're 1,000 meters.
How many feet?
3,300.
Okay.
And as far as what I think is comfortable is about 1,000 to 1,400. Um, if you get under 1,000, you start to get a little warm and humid. If you get over 1,400, I think you get a little cool. Unless you
Of course,
enjoy
there's
wearing
microclimates as well,
unless
which
you
affect
enjoy
things.
wearing dapper sweaters all the time, and then go for it. So I think 1,000 to 1,400 meters is the sweet spot. Personal opinion.
Yeah, at least for being able to grow as much as possible.
And just being comfortable. Like to
I
go
think
work
we're
outside.
A touch warm here.
We are. The top of our hill may be better.
While we're a touch warm here, I also think that we would struggle to grow certain things if we were any cooler. So it's just like, what do you want to do with your life?
So you only get 12 hours of daylight at best being on the equator, and we get less because we're in a valley between two mountains. So we really, on an open spot of ground, are lucky to get 8 or 9. If it were cooler, crops are now having not only that much light, but cooler temps. Oh my gosh, growth is so slow. Things here just take longer.
Sweet potatoes don't take like 9 months. They take like 13, 14 months. It's forever. Yeah.
Which, your weeds and stuff seem to grow faster, and then the bug pressure is that whole time. So it opens your exposure window a bit.
Always. Ecuadorians are awesome. I live in Cuenca. I've twice literally seen someone return a $20 bill to another person who dropped it. Yeah, that kind of thing.
No, like honestly,
good people.
I've been a bunch of places. Ecuadorians there's some nice people. As a whole, like I see people where they're like, oh, why do you like here? There's more money in the United States. I'm like, it's not just about money. Yes, there's not the economic opportunities here, but people, even the poorest people, are often far more content and happy with what they have than people who are well-to-do in the U.S. They don't have family strife. They don't have all this crazy conflict things.
They're not always trying to get the new or the better or the best or the
and fight somebody else for it.
Yes, definitely need Paul's info. Thanks. Definitely bringing a container. I have a kiln for glass.
Nice.
That is big and commercial. Large freeze dryers. Cool. So definitely need it for equipment. Yeah, well.
You should move near us.
I was gonna say.
I'm hoping that my kiln, being wood fired, can hit glass temperatures. I don't know. Total experiment, but it would be cool if it did.
It would be cool. Send us an email, and then we'll connect you to Paul.
Yeah.
Because he's definitely the guy you want to talk to. We're at 1,900 meters, approximately 6,000 feet. It's amazing. I've been able to grow everything. I think I'm in a warmer microclimate. Yeah. So I was thinking, I was watching your channel, and I was thinking that, I don't know. I don't think there's anywhere here I've seen at that elevation that you can grow as much tropical fruit as you're growing. So that's kind of cool. She's in Colombia.
Okay.
So I think you might have like a little magical.
So when you get that high
really
here,
cool.
It gets a little scrubby.
Yeah, and her place is super lush and bananas and coffee.
No, like you climb the Pass Aloha, which is that high, 2,000 meters.
No, 3? It's got to be more. It's got to be 3. No, it's 3 something.
But like the trees go away, you get into like the short bushes things. Like it
clearly less lush.
High elevation. It is not lush. Lush as you come down the pass. All of a sudden, everything starts to get more and more. And then as you start to get closer to the bottom, all of a sudden, lush happens.
Yeah.
You get past where it's just sort of like fields of grass, whole mountains of grass, and then woof, lush.
So I think that you honestly probably got super lucky in your spot because you probably have some of the benefits. Do you have as many bugs? You may have the benefits of higher elevation and still manage to grow everything, which is really cool.
Which is cool.
Paul is awesome. Yes. When you call his company, he will actually get directly on the phone and talk with you. He's a wizard. He is great. We like him.
If you talk to him, tell him we say hi. He may be watching. Sometimes he does. But yeah, say hi.
Love your videos. Do you still need the blade for your planer?
Oh, yeah. We blew it up, and I just... Morose?
That would be
Is that a good word?
That's a good word.
Oh my
Morose
God.
is
And I'm
good.
trying to finish this video and I just have this deep inner sadness of loss. And I'm like, so many dreams of finishing my house, of things of like.
Oh. Yeah.
The 6-inch carbide blades. They're just standard, like a 3-pack of blades. Unfortunately, at the moment, we have no money for them. So maybe in the future.
We can send it to you. My husband is from Quito.
Oh, that would be awesome. But again, at some point when funds allow,
Yeah.
like we literally have $6 to our name.
Yeah.
So we're scratching just to like.
We'll get there.
To make ends meet.
We'll get there. We do have a plan for you to go look at our Zamora property again next Saturday.
Right. So that's interesting. I'm meeting the engineer on Saturday, and we had to do a slight change of where the road is proposed to go up the hill. So we have to rewalk it so that he can GPS the whole thing again and check the slopes and the terrain and the geology. That's the only, like, people have looked at it. People are like, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. It's amazing that it's serene. It's wonderful. You have this crazy view from the top. You get Zamora on one side and a tranquil valley on the other, and this huge, beautiful hill with good soil. Like, it's all the thing. It only lacked access. And we don't have the money to put in the road, but we think we have a way that once we have the whole plan in place, I'll be able to borrow the money to put the road in, and then I'll just have to add that plus the interest for what the road costs onto the price. But once there's a road, the price like doubles, triples. The value goes up massively once there's a road. Saying it's possible is one thing. Actually, physically having it cut, yeah. So that'll happen.
Yeah.
Little by little.
And then we'll be able to actually sell the property. Is the hope.
Yeah. There's a lot of interest. We put it up, and it was like the first week was 50 interested people.
They just all want a road.
But it didn't have the road yet. Okay. So it really narrowed down the interested people.
Yeah, which makes sense. I mean, it narrowed us down.
We
not being there.
Yeah.
Because it was just not possible.
Right.
What we had a bunch of questions and we never got to our Ecuador news.
Oh, is
just
that all
updates
of them?
on so far.
Oh, good.
But just updates on Ecuador in general. All the things I do read the news pretty much every night.
All right. Well, like what?
Well, I was thinking the whole thing with the mines was interesting.
Oh.
With the fees.
Yeah. So we were just discussing. There's the whole thing with illegal mining, large scale illegal mining. That's a huge problem in the Zamora River, plus some other places.
Funny enough, we were just talking, just us.
And we're like, man, how would we solve this?
Work.
And I said, well, if it were me, I would open an office right here in Yantzaza, in the heart of it. Like with people, with inspectors, with this. And then I was talking to Jorge, who owns they sell tools in Yantzaza. Chainsaws and things. You should go see Jorge if you need anything.
He's the steel distributor, right?
Yeah, he's the official steel distributor. Don't buy the cheap Chinese knockoffs from the other people.
The ones walking around the
market
market
today. They don't have a warranty. Oh my God, they look like Tonka toys.
It's so funny.
That's not a real steel. Anyway, and he goes, and he hates mining, but his business sells a lot to miners, and he goes, what you need to do is you need to convert them to do it legally, correctly. Yeah, you're right. And the only way you're going to do that, because people here and I'm sensitive to the fact of people here just want to work. And most of them are and I've met them. I've gone in the miner camps with a friend who walked me through the illegal miner camps where they're living in cots and tents and things. They're camping on the river with equipment.
Most of them honestly just see an opportunity to make money for their family. Honestly.
Yes.
Genuinely, they're not they're trying to do a bad job.
They're not
they're taking an opportunity.
It's a chance to earn money to maybe buy a property for their family, to get food, to things, and they're living rough to do it. So it would be great if these could just be converted into, like, without just coming in and shutting them down and penalizing and seizing equipment, which is honestly also happening. But just come in and be like, you can't continue the way you were doing it, but we're going to let you continue if you do it correctly and you follow the rules. Environmental regulations, things, safety, like just basic, sort of stuff, and then convert it into a sustainable sort of economy. There's a lot of opportunity there if it's done right. And then it comes out in the news that Noboa sort of does just that.
It was funny. Like, we were just talking about that.
We see things and stuff, and we see people like chit-chatting politics about Noboa and even bad-mouthing him. And then something comes out that he did that was spot on, dead right, that you have to trace back weeks or months that he's been working on it to get to that point.
Well, look at that.
He is so many steps ahead of you. Anyway, he came out and he had a whole plan for the mines, and there's new fees and things, and
the fees are based off of
hectares.
They're based off of size of the operation.
Yeah.
So, and they're based off size of the operation, and then with the basic salary.
Yeah.
So it's a percentage of the basic salary, which is $470. So even the biggest mine is only paying $470. It's not that much.
Yeah, and if you have 100 hectares, 47 grand
per hectare,
which is not even your daily diesel budget.
No. So, and then all that money goes to and I don't remember exactly, but it goes to basically ensuring that everyone is following all the regulations, the laws, doing everything environmentally
the locations,
safe.
They're getting them trucks and helicopters and drones.
Oh yeah, all of that.
Satellite licenses for watching things.
Moderate what's going on.
They're literally self-funding the oversight of the whole thing, so they don't have to pull it out of like a new budget out of the general fund. Like, wow. Wow. Good job. Good job,
and
sir.
even because I sort of thought there's going to be pushback, but even the mining, I'm sorry, I don't remember the name, the mining association thing, council, I think, was on board with it, because I thought, they're going to push back and be like,
now I know a lot of the smaller miners
they'll be upset
are going to have a slightly higher hurdle to meet some of these things, and some of them are going to go away, but they may just end up being absorbed into some other ones. Being less is probably not a bad idea. No,
there's a bit too much going on.
The river is just lined with excavators.
But that's part of what they're doing, is ensuring that it's not just destroying the river. They're going to ensure it's done correctly as mining can be done. Yeah. There's pros and cons to such a thing. But I just think it's interesting.
But it's in politics, there's oftentimes an answer that nobody likes. And it only suits some small interest. This seems pretty solid. Yeah. So yeah, we shall see. Yeah. What else was there?
That was interesting. I don't know. I think we are headed towards the end of the rainy season, which I'm really happy about.
So says the weather models.
So says paying attention to what the weather's doing.
And the government has said. Outside. Like a week ago, they're like, be prepared for drought times.
Next, which is this month now. I'm like, all right.
Drought?
Well, if it doesn't rain again for 3 weeks,
then, drought leads to power problems.
Oh, and he was also working on solving the power problem thing.
And he was already on that?
Yep.
They're bringing on more geothermal energy.
Yep.
An expansion of an existing plant.
And hydro fixing and
actually properly fixing
a lot of it wasn't maintained
system.
Correctly, which is part of what last year was about.
I still think they should roll out some serious solar.
I think that was on the list.
Was it?
I think so.
I think they should do it on a larger scale. It works so well with the hydro hand in hand.
Yeah. But I don't know. I thought
it's so fast and cheap to roll out.
I thought the news has been mostly good. They've been arresting everybody that is, as we call them, a poo head.
So many poop heads.
So many.
Yeah. There's just like the illegal things here, there, like the border commandos.
They took them seriously.
Who murdered a bunch of agents who went to go and arrest them for illegal mining, and then there was an ambush and they murdered them all, and then he sent 1,000+ troops.
Yep.
And the military of just they're done now. Oh cow. Nope.
Yeah.
So person thing. They arrested the head of the Albanian mafia.
Who knew?
The Ecuador Albanian mafia. Who knew that the Albanians were like a thorn in Ecuador's side?
Who knew that was a thing?
And I'd heard like chatter from Europeans about like there's certain parts of Europe that like is like the backwater parts they don't like to discuss as part of Europe. And I guess that's one of them. And they arrested him in the UAE, which we couldn't figure out why Noboa went to.
He did like a little tour.
It was the Pope tour. And then he bounced through Spain and the UAE, and we're like...
I mean, Spain, I can kind of see, okay. UAE
but then there was
weird.
another thing where there was a deal with Spain that it looks like he also had a conversation and cut a deal and a thing, and someone was arrested there?
A couple people that had been, like, hiding out there.
Yep. It's like, oh, you used your trip wisely, I see. But it's taken a little bit of time for this to kind of come to fruition. Outlook is good. For people like is it going to be safe? Is it that? What's the direction of like politics? Is it like gonna like end in a dumpster fire? No, my outlook at this point is good.
I think it's very good.
And since he was just reelected, he's got some legs to run on this one.
Yeah, he's done a lot in the year he had already. Like he did a lot in a year.
You can get rid of the mosquitoes.
It was on your bacon. What have you done with?
Thanks, Will.
No, I don't know if I got it.
Okay.
I'll try again.
Keep your eyes on me.
Okay, I'll do that.
Any more questions? I see texty stuff and hearts. Somebody did hearts.
I'm having a hard time with my eyeballs. We live in California, but we're moving to Cuenca.
Where in California?
California. I think it was biting me. Is expensive. Please say hi.
I used to live there.
Please say hi to Octavio Espinoza. He's watching live right now. Hi. Thanks for watching.
Hi, Octavio.
I
love shoutouts.
I like President Noboa, but he makes me nervous because his family is good friends with Trump and the Kennedy family. It worries me for the future of U.S. immigration to Ecuador.
Look,
I don't think it's going to be bad for if.
The only thing I got to say to that is,
U.S. to Ecuador is not a problem. Would you rather
be friends with Trump or enemies of Trump?
But he must be an enemy of Trump.
I'm just whatever his personal feelings are, he has made like peaceable talks with him.
But also realize like Ecuador and the U.S. are tied. So being not friendly, it would also be very concerning. Like that.
Also, maybe Trump occasionally just goes slightly off the handle and does some random things that like blow up your world on a random Tuesday. Maybe it's just nice to be on his good side, you know.
I don't think it'll affect immigration from U.S. to Ecuador at all. I don't think Noboa has any problem with it. There's never been any talk of like we don't want people to bring more money in.
I think a leader of a country,
anyone immigrating from the U.S. to Ecuador is going to have more money than the average Ecuadorian.
Generally, yes.
Generally, yes.
But I think any head of state should be on friendly terms with every other head of state, regardless of your personal feelings about them.
You don't need to be enemies. You might not disagree. You might not agree with them.
My great-grandfather was an arbiter for the Steelworkers Union. While he represented steelworkers as a union head, he had to meet and do contract negotiation and resolution of conflict with the owners of the steel plants, which are sort of notorious. And he goes, some of these guys were just son of a bitches. And that was his official word for them. But he goes, but you have to go into that meeting and you have to respect them and you have to find something about them that you like enough that you can have a conversation with them to resolve the thing at hand. You can't just go in hating on them and saying they're terrible. You won't ever reach an accord. You know, you're not just going to get a different person on the other side of the table because you don't like them or you think they're bad. Like you have to. That's a world leader. Like you have to step up to that.
Yeah.
And be the bigger person, and put some things aside to make the good choices and get what you need for your people. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Is the price of gas going to remain regulated?
Probably.
I don't see it not.
No, it changes. This much every so often.
And the indigenous population almost always protests every time.
If it goes up, yeah,
They protest.
They protest.
Which means it's never going to go up much.
The indigenous population,
they can't deal with that.
While small, has a significant amount of like check control. I
think there's a long history there that I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd like to know more about, because they definitely have quite a sway in the government in what happens.
They have their own ways.
Yeah.
As we see sometimes. And then it gets removed from Facebook.
Oh, yeah. Where you own your property, you mentioned that someone owned a property and a house below your property. Did they ever list it for sale? Not this property.
List.
Well, this property would be...
Oh, our other one?
I don't know. There's no one that owns below our property.
No.
Here.
Oh, there's a couple valleys over. I have a picture in my phone of like a map of property. I've never been there. There's a bunch. There's a lot of properties for sale. The problem is there's no listing really. If you find it in a listing or with a real estate agent, the price is up here.
So
it's sort of dumb, and by the time it makes it to the internet. But if you just drive around, or if you want, we do it as a service. We'll go find stuff, and we charge by the day. And you just start talking to people. Oh yeah, this is for sale. That's for sale. Oh, I know my cousin. Like Eduardo over here. He's selling that property he got from his dad thing. And you start to have to network in an area, and all of a sudden it just starts to open up. There's a ton of properties. Okay, now which ones have actual titles, and which one's this? Which ones is there any that have like conflicts with a neighbor? That's a thing. You have to kind of feel them out, but then you find out that there's a bunch. It's a process.
Gosh, we had a huge Albanian drug cartel up in Alaska, where I was born and raised. What? In Alaska?
The
what?
Albanians.
I
can't even say
silly. I just feel like it's silly for some reason.
I can't even say their name right. Like, what is with Albania?
I don't know.
That breeds. And if you go to Google, and I'm like, I don't even know where Albania is. So I went to Google, and I went to map view, and I just started clicking around, and there's a bunch of like old Mercedes and dudes wearing like Adidas tracksuits and gold chains and things, and I'm like,
it's ridiculous.
It's such a stereotype.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
That just bounced like randomly, like dropping the little pin in places in cities in Albania.
Nope. All right, we need to wrap up though. We said we were only going to do an hour, and it's been 2 hours.
All right. Yeah.
Almost 2 hours.
All right.
No, I guess it hasn't. We were late. It's been an hour and 37 minutes.
So let's call it 5 minutes. Last call. Last questions.
Yeah. All right. What are we doing? I said we were going to give like homestead updates.
Oh, right.
Building a kiln.
So we have a kiln, which I'm actually really excited about the kiln. It's a mud kiln, but I should be able to get above cone 10, so we can fire both ceramics, maybe glass. I did some glass work in college. It was fun. But we can cook down calcium hydroxide into calcium oxide and make our own slaked lime to use as plaster for our walls. We can't get calcium oxide, at least not a good grade of it. But if I build a kiln, I have trees, so I have mud, I have trees, I can put those together and I can make calcium oxide.
Yeah.
It's one of those, like, if I have this plus this plus this and then this plus this, I'm gonna learn to, like, what can I continue to build? And then once I have that, well, now I have this material and I can have this other thing from our land to something else from our land to something else, and then keep building on it. That's exciting. The house is sort of stagnated. We need more roof. We were generously gifted money for a roof from someone. Oh my God, that was like a huge thing. That allowed us to get all of the progress that we kind of have.
But now we're out of space that's roofed.
Yep, we've sort of walled all of that space, so we need more roof.
But while we wait for that, because we're just waiting. Well, I mean, right now we're getting pigs moved again.
Pigs.
Just a pain. We cut down a bunch of trees. A whole bunch, which then means a whole bunch of cleaning up.
I got a big wood stack down in the canopy there, where I've like stacked it up to dry over a period of time. I got a few more trees.
Like actual boards.
Actual like dimensional boards that eventually I'll be able to run through my joiner with its broken blades.
Oh boy.
Once I get them fixed. The sadness just keeps hitting.
Oh no.
I can't even grind them out. Like it's just.
Oh.
But that's going to take some period of time for the boards to dry out.
Yep.
Well,
I've got garden to work on. I'm trying to recover as the rainy season ends. Then we can actually get the garden
van
going
has
again.
mad wobble.
Yeah.
Like like she's trying to eat her sandwich today, and she's like, "There's something wrong with the van."
So bad.
And I'm just sort of staring, like, "Yep." Anyway, yeah, it's terrible. I replaced one part on it with the ball joint because it was just silly loose, and we're like, we actually think maybe it's something else. And now I've got it. I'm going to jack it up in the morning and check that out and try to see if I can figure out what's going on with that. I want the wheel to fall off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're just other stuff, just planting stuff. Like we really will be like back in the dryer season.
There's been some gardening. You've gotten some garden maintenance done. Yeah. Some mulching.
Eli cleared up the little orchard.
Oh yeah, it looks pretty good.
We still have to weed whack that,
yep.
And then I'm gonna plant squash in the little orchard and let it take over all the bare space.
Yeah. What else? We have
fruit trees to plant and pineapples to plant.
Yeah.
As soon as the ground's a little bit less.
But the pineapples go on a hill, and the hill, if you try to do it now, you're like, you just keep sliding, and then you've destroyed the ground. So
it's awful. So we have to let it dry out a bit.
Big.
What else?
We've got a couple other projects. We've been stacking all the wood that we cut down is being stacked for another project.
Multiple different projects.
One of them I'm really excited about, but I'm not going to let that cat out of the bag yet.
You know what cat you're talking about.
That's so secret. Even she doesn't know.
Uh-huh. I've got more steps to put in because we like steps.
I cut a ton of step log.
We love steps.
Even if a tree is like wonky terrible, cut in 2-3 foot pieces. You're straight enough for steps.
Good. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Yes, there's some chainsaw milling, but again, when funds allow me to buy another chainsaw chain.
Yeah. So part of the clearing of trees was because they were just going to fall down anyway. And then we cleared some for the solar panels because we need every scrap of sun that we can get.
Yep.
Do you just have the 2 baby chickens, or did you end up with more? Only 2. There were 3. One casualty.
Neck and the peeps.
One casualty.
We
jumped out of the nesting box like hours old, and somebody squashed it, which was really sad.
We had 2 chickens sitting on 2 different nests, and the first one failed.
Failed in a weird way.
We don't know. But they
hatched.
Some of them hatched. Some of them made it like all the way to hatching, and then they all just died.
It was really weird. Not really sure what happened.
So we had a 0 on that one, but like they were fertile, and they made it, and then so we just got the 2. Pretty low for the amount of eggs we started.
Yeah, but we also didn't know how many were. Most of them just weren't fertile because we were sort of between roosters. Because like we took the one rooster out because he was pecking on the other rooster and beating him up, which then meant the main rooster wasn't really doing his job because he was hurt. Yeah, so it was kind of
he had a gimp leg.
Yeah, he's struggling.
He spent a lot of time just sort of like chilling and sitting around.
So I'm not that surprised, but they're still so cute.
They're so cute.
The little peeps running around.
They're the size of like the little like marshmallow peeps, and they're like traversing hectares. We're like, whoa, it's a big world.
They do suck at going home though. Every night it's like, oh, I can't find her. Like, oh God. Would a tile roof make more sense than a metal roof, or would that be too much weight? It would just be expensive.
Well, so tile roofs here are common.
Yeah.
Spanish tile, crudely made too. I don't like when you look at them like they're not machine made. You can get nicer stuff too. You can get official stuff, but at least in the local area, I think they've been recycling a lot of Spanish tile roofs for a long time. And they'll take a building down and they'll save all the tiles, only break a few, and then they'll like reuse them. Yes, they do well. It is a ton of weight, but it's not hard to build a structure to hold that up. Everybody here seems to do it. You do get into the problem of sealing it, to keep out like birds, bugs, bats, bees. I'm out of bees. That was it. So there's a strange thing of like everybody here has like a wall and a roof,
And there's like a little.
and that's where I figured out a ceiling seals the house. It's a ceiling, which nobody here has.
Nobody does a ceiling.
They just have like a roof, and then there's always a gap, even if it's a metal roof. Like the wall goes to there and the roof goes to there, and where the beams are, it's just open. Even in the really fancy house where they like stuccoed it and painted it, and they put in double pane like windows and doors, and we're like, it's so fancy. There's still a gap around the whole roof of their house, and we're like, bugs, just get in there. You get bit by a bat. Anyway, you could. It's totally an option. Steel's just cheaper.
That's why I said it was more expensive to do tiles.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much, like, this is our budget house.
I will say the steel is loud.
Yeah. We are going to, our plan is to tar it, which sounds like a terrible job.
I had this grand idea. If I treat it like a flat roof, and a flat roof is usually a multi-composite structure with things, and okay. If we do the steel roof, corrugated steel, and that will shed water on its own, I think I know I can get tar. I've seen it used. So I can tar the roof, and then I can gravel it with like pea gravel. And by doing that, the gravel absorbs all of the sunlight and breaks the force of the rain. The tar really just holds the gravel and provides sound deadening. It should quiet the roof like massively. I don't know.
It will also help with heat.
Yeah, like 95% or something of the noise, like just won't, because you're not hitting steel with raindrops. And it's not a huge layer, so we're kind of building it strong enough to take an extra few 100 pounds per roof panel. Economical. It is more work, but I think in the long run it'll be really nice to have a quiet roof, which the tile roofs would be quieter.
I was going to ask how good of a welder you are, because it's possible you could repair that nick in each of the blades.
Carbide. Yeah, if they were steel blades, yeah, I would totally weld them up and grind them. I'm actually pretty good with it. I only have a stick welder right now, but I made gears for the seat in the van, like that control the reclining part. Yeah, the teeth were blown out, so I took it all apart, and I managed to do tiny little spot welds with a stick welder, and then ground and filed them until they were proper teeth again. And I was quite pleased I was able to do that level of repair with a crude stick welder. But no, they're carbide, so they're crystalline, and they're laminated to a piece of steel, and it's the carbide that's blown up. If I just had like hardened steel blades, then yeah, I could flip them over, I could sharpen them, I could grind them a little bit. Yeah. The original blades that I got that were steel that came with it were just totally chowdered, and I chucked them.
No, that's where we're building a solid monolithic dome home. No gaps. No gaps.
I like domes.
I like domes too.
I actually had plans for a 50-foot dome that was going to go in Alaska. It was beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful floor plan layout, like open center, had a whole center. The rooms were staggered going up inside. There was a basement, subground. There was a central spiral staircase that went to the bedrooms, and then I had a couple on the top that was the master bath. Really, it was just a toilet and a sink. But I really just wanted to sit on the top of the entire thing at the tree height level. It's a bathroom. I thought it'd be fun. That's just me. Domes are great. They have acoustic issues, and then they depending on how you build them, have waterproofing issues. And nobody wants to work on it because it's a huge pain to work with a geodesic dome and all the cut panels.
Were the chicks really wet? If the humidity is really high, it could be a problem. I mean, they were
under a chicken.
Yeah, there's some amount of moisture there.
Yeah, the humidity was high. But
it is moist. Just here, like
Like we had.
It wasn't like they were on wet ground or something.
No, they were in a box. They were in dry shavings under a chicken.
Yeah, big fluffy chicken. Are you planning to get a bull or cow? No,
too big.
It's not right for our property at all. We're gonna stick with sheep as our red meat source.
The too heavy of a creature is problematic with the clay here, and they blow through the topsoil and then they're into the clay. And once you muck
even the
clay,
goats do that.
Even the goats do that. And the pigs do it. But once you get through that, it just starts to like go away. So they'll run cows through an area here just long enough that they trample some grass and they eat what they want, and they're sort of walking on the trampled grass, and that's it. They're out, and they won't come back for a year.
Which means you need more space to be able to have cows in this area, which we don't have
on the specific geology that we have,
and we don't have enough space for that.
No,
so we're going to stick to the smaller creatures.
Yep,
they're also easier for us to handle. I don't really want to handle a cow. Definitely don't want to handle a bull. The goats are plenty, thanks.
Yeah,
some days. Exotic metal rods will work. I don't know.
For what?
The blade.
Exotic metal.
I don't know.
I do not have.
I don't have. We don't have a lot. All right, but it is after 9.
Oh, for the welding?
Yeah.
Oh no, the carbide is like it's literally a crystal. Like it's not a metallic. Oh yeah, it's not a metallic. There is metal. There's a metal blade.
Yeah. Oh, carbide. Oops, no go. Okay.
Yeah. I do have a couple of sticks of the special nickel rod for cast things, and a couple of stainless steel. But yeah, I mean, I suppose I could take a piece of mild steel and weld myself an edge of hard steel on it, and then grind them to make a new blade.
I don't know about that.
So my grinding is I have a 25-year-old Makita angle grinder. I don't have any bigger equipment. I don't have and then I have a diamond stone, so I could sit there and like grind on it for like 6 months. Try to get it flat. It's possible.
It's a bummer.
It's a bummer.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
All right. Let's wind it up.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody, thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. I enjoy these. And gosh, we'll do another one of these in the future. Send us questions, things. We'll save them for the next one. So I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you for the next one.